all of your names here. I'm Tani Sands with Create Your Cruise for any of you who don't know me. And here we're very excited today to do something just a little bit different. I have here Aimee Price. She is the Vice President of Field Sales for North America from Explora Journeys. So very excited to have you as a guest. You are most welcome, and we are thrilled to be able to chat back and forth about Explora because what a hot topic in the industry. So thank you for joining us. And something I really love about this industry, and by the way, if anyone has questions while we're going, please throw those in the Q&A box. We're just going to have a conversation here today, talk about all of the exciting things with the brand, the future, the present, what people are saying, and then afterwards we'll go into some questions so that you all have a chance to also learn the things that you came here to learn. So, Aimee, welcome. I want you to tell us a little bit about your background in the industry because you have such a varied background in the industry.
Yeah, we had a great conversation leading into this. Thank you, Tony, for having me and for featuring Explora Journeys as a new brand. We really lean into our travel advisors, such as yourself, and getting the word out about the brand. So we're super excited to be here and have this opportunity. But yeah, I've been in the cruise industry for, I hate to say it, but 35 years. I
Oh,
started when I
wow.
was in college. And I was working on ships. So I actually worked for 7 years on board Royal Caribbean ships as a youth counselor to start off with, and then moved into shore excursions. So I had the opportunity to go a lot of different places throughout the world and really experience the destinations because I was involved with the shore excursion team. So that was very fulfilling. And my career with Royal Caribbean spanned a total of 28 years, where I had the opportunity to do a lot of different things within the industry and within Royal Caribbean. Probably one of the most rewarding things that I had done to date was start up their land-based tour division, which resided here in Washington, where I'm at in Seattle. And we ran land-based tours in Alaska to the interior to complement the cruise through the Inside Passage, which, if you haven't been to Alaska, doing just the Inside Passage without going to the interior is a sin. It's
Shameful.
really
It's
great.
shameful.
Yeah, shameful. You need to do the full thing,
It
the
is
full Monty. Yeah.
so
Uh,
true. And how incredible for you to like go through all of these amazing experiences in this industry. You've been shoreside, shipside, started younger, moved all the way through your career, and you went from such a huge corporation to Explora, which well has a great, large parent company. Like it's almost like a startup in the industry. You guys are building brand new hardware. I mean, very rare in this industry to have a cruise line come out that's just starting brand new hardware from the
yep.
get-go. So very exciting. Tell us
Yep.
about that journey for you.
Yeah, 100%. So I left Royal and I went to Seabourn on January 16th of 2020, which was great timing from the standpoint of a cruise career. But actually it ended up landing me this opportunity. So when I was at Seabourn, my boss who hired me, Chris Austin, he was approached by the MSC group to start up this luxury line. And he was actually approached a couple of times and finally decided to go. And when he left, he couldn't tell any of us where he was going. And he said to me, just stay in touch because I've got something very exciting brewing. And he reached out to me when he was able to start sharing what was going on and building a team and said, would you consider coming over and being part of this team? And I had to really think long and hard because Seabourn was a well-established legacy brand and still is within the Carnival Corporation. But ultimately, the excitement of being part of something new from scratch and being able to think outside the box and look a little bit differently at the product was what enticed me to come over to Explora Journeys. And while it's been by far the hardest job I've ever had, it's also been the most rewarding job. And it's been just amazing to see the product come to fruition and to see the reception to the product that we've received in just our 2.5 years of operation. So, yeah, that's been my journey, and I can't imagine being anywhere else right now or being in any other industry because there is so much growth and so much opportunity. And, a great opportunity to share our product with especially those who've never sailed before, because I think it really does resonate with new to cruise.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I remember when I first heard the concept of Explora, about all the things you guys wanted to accomplish in this industry, about how you wanted to get people who are not necessarily cruisers, how you wanted to bring some fresh perspective in, bring in wellness experiences, food experiences, land-based vacation people, and bring like you're wooing them into the cruise world, which is really exciting because
Mhm.
in my world, I heard it. And then, you hear it and you're like, is it going to happen? What's going to happen when the product launches, when it goes live? And you kind of have almost like a let's see what's going on here approach. And then it just became the hot topic in our world. Like
Yep.
guests who have never cruised are calling and asking questions about it. Like, I've heard about this. The guests who have cruised before, but not with you, are calling and saying, my friend told me about this cruise line. I have to go try it. And then the guests coming back are just really like the loyalty is building
Mhm.
exceptionally fast. We're seeing a lot of repeat business, and very, very few people have anything negative to say about the experience. It's mostly nothing but positives. It's really exciting to see that kind of come about. So, like, what do you attribute all of this success to?
Well, I think there's a few things that I can attribute it to. And number one is really how we approached building the brand. So, in all transparency, we're owned by the MSC Group. So, they have a long history of maritime shipbuilding. And our
The
sister company,
longest.
yeah. Our sister company, MSC Cruises, they have beautiful ships and they do a fantastic job of building beautiful ships. And the family, because we're family owned, has always wanted to do something in the luxury space. And they could have just come to the market and said, "Hey, we're building these beautiful ships. We're a luxury product. Come try us out." But instead, they really took a different approach and decided to invest in doing focus groups with over 20,000 consumers. And they talked to luxury consumers, and not necessarily just luxury consumers in the travel space, but luxury consumers in retail and all around. And what they wanted to understand was what's important to a luxury consumer? What makes them make that purchase in the luxury space, and what defines luxury to them? And out of all those conversations that we had with those 20,000 consumers, there were some key pillars that rose that helped us determine not only how we were going to build the physical attributes of the ship, but then how we were going to market the product and how we were going to execute the product on board. And those five key pillars were that luxury travelers really value space, like the actual physical space that's afforded to them. They also value choice and being able to make their own decisions and determine how their day is going to play out. They also value, or they told us that they wanted us to focus on a different type of design and not just do the same traditional ship design. They also indicated that it was really important to them to spend more time in destinations, be a little bit more immersive in the destinations that they're going to. And then, of course, one very important pillar that rose to the top was personalized service. So we wrapped all of that into how we built the ships and then operate the product. And I think because we took that approach, it is now resonating with the new to cruise and with the curious traditionalists because we are optimizing that guest to space ratio. And with all that space, we're able to offer ample amounts of choice on board, whether it be in culinary or wellness or destination experiences. And then the design of the ship is really focused on creating this home away from home type of environment, very aesthetically pleasing, relaxing. Every space that you move into, there's continuity, the color palettes, the attention to detail and the design, which helps you to relax and really immerse yourself into the opportunity of taking a true vacation. And then last but not least, our people. Our people on board are super important because they're the ones ultimately delivering the experience to these luxury guests. And that's paramount, I should say, key paramount to the way the product has been received. And it really is, I feel, falls a lot on the hands of the people. And that's ultimately landed in fantastic customer testimonials, like you've mentioned. You've had people sail with us, come back, they tell their friends, their family about it. It's also transferred into major awards that we've won. Like we've won over 50 awards, and we've
Yeah.
only been in operation for 2.5 years, from Cruise Critic to Condé Nast Traveler to Travel Weekly. So we're definitely getting recognition. And then as we are growing as well, the ability to be more global as far as our deployment has also resonated with both traditionalists and new to cruise guests. We've also tapped a little bit into focusing on the affluent working wealthy, which is our target demographic. And in doing that, we've partnered with some very high-end brands, such as Formula One. We have the
You're
Formula One.
everywhere. And
Yeah,
Formula One is everywhere now, right? Like
yeah.
everybody I know is. is watching is seeing that, and it's great exposure. I
Yeah.
really I see Explora everywhere. You're well represented. You're in Monaco. The ship is there. It's
Hmm.
so unique, and I also see you at the it was at the tennis
Yes. Yeah.
sorry the
So that's our
the
other, yeah, our
Australian
other brand.
Open.
Our other brand partnership is with Yannick Sinner. So he's number two in the world right now as far as men's tennis players are concerned. And we're tapping into that younger demographic that's really excited about that partnership. In fact, just last week, we announced that Yannick is going to be on board Explora 3 during our Prelude journey for a few days. And oh my gosh, the interest that we've gotten because of that. He's going to be there. He's going to be offering coaching sessions, some wellness
Amazing.
sessions. They're going to be doing a gala dinner with him. So it's a super exciting opportunity to connect with someone that's in the same space as our affluent clients are as well. So I think all of that coupled together, but most importantly, the approach that we took to building the brand really laid the foundation for where we are today and where we will be going forward in the future as well.
Absolutely. And just for those of you that want a little more information about the ship as well, keep in mind that we have on our YouTube channel here, I'll just show you my screen really quick. We did a webinar a few months ago. You'll find that on our World to See Create Your Cruise YouTube channel, and that's going to dive into the ship and all of the pictures and details. So make sure you check that out as well, because that's going to give you some more information and great background there. But Aimee, let's continue down this line of thought because I think it's really exciting to see what you guys have done so far, to watch all of the promises made come to fruition with the brand, and all the exposure that you've gotten everywhere around the world has really brought in that younger demographic. It's an exciting time in my life to see the younger people realizing that cruising is amazing and that it has
Mhm.
so much to offer, and it's all about finding that right brand for you. So for you, what do you think is on the horizon for Explora? What's exciting you about the new incoming ships and the new incoming crowds and all the things going on in
Yeah.
the near future, I should say.
Yeah, so near future, we have two ships in the water right now, and we've been operational for 2.5 years, as I mentioned earlier, predominantly focused on the Caribbean and the Mediterranean, because as a new brand, we realized that's where we needed to be to get recognition. And now we are building a total of 6 ships by 2028. So our next ship comes out this summer, Explorer 3, as I mentioned, where Yannick will be for a few days. And we'll have two more next year in 27. One will be introduced in March of 2027, and then ship number 5 will be introduced in December of 2027. And then ship 6 will be introduced in 2028. And something that a lot of people don't realize is that by 2028, we will have the largest capacity in the luxury space in the market. So we'll supersede some of those traditional lines that have been there, legacy lines that have been around for a long time. And I think we do have a lot of opportunity, and we have a lot of opportunity to continue to entice those new to cruise clients to come over and experience our boutique hotel at sea.
Absolutely.
As we add ships, we've always said that our deployment is going to become much, much greater. So we've started to expand with those ships to places like Northern Europe, Iceland, Greenland. We'll be in Alaska next summer, offering both the inside passage and the interior of Alaska. So don't forget. Um,
Shame if you
yes,
don't.
yes. Going to Japan, Southeast Asia. We will be in South America, going to Manaus, into the Amazon. We're going into the Arabian Peninsula and Red Sea. We will continue to operate in the Mediterranean as well as the Caribbean. And I think for me, one of the most exciting things that we just announced about a week and a half ago is our very first world journey. So, Endless Worlds in 2029. So lots of time to plan. It's 128 days. It's going to 63 different countries. It's going from Dubai to Barcelona. And you'll have the opportunity as a guest from North America, you can get the full world journey benefits if you sail to Miami or New York as well. So if you're not familiar with world journeys, typically if you book the full world journey, you get some added amenities and special access and events that are part of the full world journey. So that's really exciting. That'll be open for a couple of months to book into the full world, and then we'll break that down into segments, or as we're calling them, passages. And guests will have the opportunity to book sailings with us to Australia, New Zealand. We're going to Easter Island. We're going, to the west coast of South America. So there's some exciting new potential there for clients who are looking for unique destinations to come to us as well, and even as new to cruise, because face it, a lot of places that ships go, you can't get to on land. So if you want to go to Easter Island, it's a
Right.
long flight. It's also a long
Even
journey, but
Alaska,
yeah,
it's not easy to get around Alaska. You really
no.
have to be able to plan that and do that ship and land experience. So, for those of you not familiar with World Journeys, it's also like an incredible community that is formed on those world
Mhm.
journeys. It's really exciting for people who get to go on the whole thing and spend basically, half a year visiting the whole all the continents
Yep,
with their fellow guests, and it creates a community. People tend to stay in touch and travel together further down the road. And it's very exciting too because you're going from this very small opportunity of Caribbean, Mediterranean to that huge expansion in such a short period of time. So it's like fun for us as the planners because we can be like, oh, now it's so much more expanded. The opportunities are to travel the world
yep,
instead of being isolated. Like a lot of people are like, I want the Explorer experience, but I want to go here.
yep.
And now they're going to be able to have that opportunity. So
Yeah,
that's
that
fun
was
and
definitely something
exciting.
that we heard a lot as we were building the brand. And now that we have more deployment available. So today, our deployment is open through March of 2028. And then additionally, the World Journey. By the end of this year, we will be open all the way into summer of 2029. So there'll be plenty of opportunities to plan your future with Explora Journeys and sail the world, literally.
And plan ahead.
Yes,
You do
yes,
want to plan ahead.
yes.
I want to talk a little bit about now that we're talking about like the largest capacity in the luxury market and how fast you're growing. But let's talk about how the evolution of luxury has kind of changed within not only the cruise world, but I'd say within the entire travel world. I think people are really elevating their experiences as a whole and appreciating some of those finer things. So I want to talk a little bit more about how you're appealing to more people with your concept of luxury does not equal boring.
Yep.
I feel like that's the feedback I get from a lot of people is that the luxury does not equal boring. Like it's not a party ship, but people are going to come on here and feel like it's the most well-rounded vacation. So let's talk about that a little bit, about the onboard
Yeah,
experience in
yeah, and
luxury.
that kind of goes back to that opportunity of offering choice to our guests on board. So we're all about optimizing guest to space ratio. And if you think about it, when you have space, then you can offer choice, which keeps people from being bored because we do have, for example, 12 bars and lounges on board our ship. So those bars and lounges are activated throughout the day and night, whether it be lectures through our luminaries who are coming on to share their experiences and their expertise, to port lecturers talking about the destinations that we're visiting, to even music trivia or just regular trivia activities during the day. Evening time, we have a main show lounge, so there's always going to be a main show in the Journeys Lounge, but then across various other lounges, we'll have maybe a classic pianist playing on one of our three Steinway pianos. We might have a trio of acoustic guitar players and singers in another lounge, and a DJ in another lounge, or a movie playing up in our conservatory. So we want to offer variety for guests coming on board when it comes to entertainment. And then there's also the prospect of wellness. We should talk about that in the luxury space as well, because wellness travel is hot right now. I mean,
Mhm.
people are from hotels to cruise, land experiences. There's a big focus on wellness, and that sector of the industry. Oops, I have a visitor here. My cat.
Hi, Katie.
Sorry.
It's a
Um,
casual conversation. Don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah. Um, so wellness has growing
It
immensely,
is.
and we approached our wellness prospect very different than other cruise lines because other cruise lines will go to a third party operator because they feel that they are the most versed in wellness, and the cruise line doesn't necessarily want to worry about that aspect. They let a third party operator do that for them. We decided that we would lean into wellness, and we are doing all of our wellness focuses in-house. So we've hired some of the best people from 5 and 6 star hotels that have run amazing spas and wellness centers in these hotels, and they've come in and created our wellness programming and hired again amazing therapists from all over the world who have come on board to execute our wellness program, whether it be from treatments like massages and facials and acupuncture and all of that, to just our fitness area where we have 30-minute classes included in our journey fares, to Pilates, to sound baths, to yoga. We just have this great well-rounded experience when it comes to wellness. And I think that's something that new to cruise can certainly lean
Hmm.
into, and even those traditionalists who really appreciate the aspect of a spa. And we do have a thermal area that is included in the
So
wellness,
nice.
or included in our journey fare as well. So you don't have to get a treatment done to enjoy the hydrotherapy area or the Himalayan salt cave, the heated marble loungers. All of that's inclusive in the journey fare, which again leans into the focus on wellness.
I
Um,
like that too because I feel like I am a traditionalist, right? I've been cruising since I was a kid, so I've always been in cruising, but I love wellness experiences. I love the
mhm.
spa, I love the gym, I love the culinary aspect of it. I love all of the unique classes and offerings. And all of that is something that like you could get if you went to a spa resort, right? Like a lot of people
Yeah,
want to go to Sedona or go to these Arizona, all these amazing places. And now you have that on the ocean. So you can also bring some of that like ocean sound and the water.
hmm.
Like water is therapeutic. So it brings in
Well,
even
very.
another aspect to people who are into wellness because now you can bring something that you didn't necessarily have before and still have all of those same focuses on the treatments, the wellness, the experience of being
Yep.
in that moment. So
Yep.
well done on the wellness. It's very, very good.
Thanks. You're making me want to be on board right now because I think I could use a massage.
Well, we're all freezing here in Florida too, so I could also use some wellness, some little
Yes.
sauna session.
Yes.
Another thing, a lot of feedback I get on is the culinary focus
Mhm.
because, cruises have always been known for food, but not necessarily known for exceptional quality compared to like a land-based operator. So
Mhm.
that is a huge feedback I'm getting is that your food rivals any restaurant anywhere.
Yep. Yeah, we are very, very focused on our culinary experiences, so much so that I can say with all clarity that our food costs are pretty much double what they were at some of the other lines that I've been at. And it shows in the execution. And I do have to give full credit to our head culinary chef, and that's Franck Garanger. He actually came to us from Oceania, which also has a big focus on culinary. But we
Absolutely.
gave him a blank slate to create everything that is Explora Journeys culinary, and he has knocked it out of the park. I mean, the food from Anthology, which is our specialty restaurant where you will experience an 8-course Italian tasting menu designed by Franck, to Emporium Marketplace, which is not a buffet because that is not in our lexicon. Emporium Marketplace is a casual dining experience. It's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But
It
what
feels like a
we,
market,
yeah.
like if you were going to a market in Europe and you would have all different kinds of food stalls with different, but very classy and elegant and
Yeah.
luxurious at the same time.
Yeah.
That if anyone has not been there, that's what the Market Emporium feels like.
Yeah, yeah. And everything's made a la minute, so you're not sitting there, picking up things with tongs that have been sitting there for hours on end. And people love it because they're not having to sacrifice that high quality of cuisine that they would experience in any one of our other restaurants on board to have a casual experience. They're still getting it in a casual environment. Because let's face it, if you're out exploring all day in a destination or maybe even just hanging out on the beach, sometimes you come back to the ship and you're like, the last thing I want to do is get dressed up and go to dinner. And speaking of getting dressed up, we don't have formal nights on board.
I do want to talk about the dress code because I feel
Yeah.
like that is also another thing since you are attracting the younger generation. Like I can tell
Hmm.
you, my husband is never putting on a suit ever again in his whole
Yeah.
life. Like, do not ask him, it's not happening. We do have to plan vacations accordingly because we love luxury products. So having again that luxury does not equal boring, does not equal stuffy. It can be casually amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit about the dress code and the vibe on board.
Yeah, so the vibe on board is more country club casual. In the evening, I would say it's like country club elegant-ish, sort of. You never
No
have
shorts, no flip-flops.
no, no, no shorts, no flip-flops. And in the Caribbean destinations, we do allow gentlemen to wear Bermuda shorts, but
Perfect.
yeah. So it's much more relaxed, which creates a much more social environment because it's not stuffy and no one feels above anyone else or below anyone else. So you do end up making some great connections. And I just love the fact that we are more casual. And something else when you talk about more casual too. We are the only luxury player in the space that does cater to multi-gen families.
That
So,
is true.
yeah, and when I say that, It's because we do have space built out on board our ships for programming for kids and teens, which you won't find on any of the other luxury players. They'll say that they have kids programming, but it's typically seasonal. Ours is
Yep.
365 days out of the year, whether there's one child or 20 children on board.
Custom
And I
built.
would, yeah, and I want to say we accommodate families. We don't promote to families. And I think there's a big difference there because if we were to say we promote to families, I think there's this perception that our ship is going to be overrun with children, and that's not the case. We know that there's a huge transfer of wealth going from baby boomers to millennials and Gen Xers and Gen Zers and whatnot. And they are still working. A lot of them are building their families and they want to be able to take their families with them, and they have the resources to do that. And they want a luxury experience. So we can provide that. And we do limit the number of children on board. So if you do have multi-gen needs in the luxury space, I would consider booking early, especially when it comes to festive and the holiday season, because we have sold out with children in the past, and we are very strict on that capacity. So yeah, it all lends to the fact that our demographic is younger, and the dogs are barking in the background, just like we talked about.
We love
They're
animals, guys.
annoying. Oh my God. Oh my
It's
God.
okay. Bye.
Oh my
I
God.
do love that. I'll talk a little bit then while you let that calm
I'm gonna
down.
take my
But
camera off just for a minute and
sure,
shut my door. I'm so
you're
sorry.
fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, guys, so I feel like I know a lot of you have some questions over here in the Q&A box. We'll definitely get to those. Kind of just going through a couple other things. I feel like the great thing about the family space, having toured the ship myself and being a millennial with no children, is when I went on there, I felt like everybody had their own space. It was very comfortable. The families that were on board were having a great time. The young couples, there's a lot of young couples. I noticed a lot of young couples and, young, like you said, millennials up into those Gen X, Gen B, or Gen X, I'm sorry. Gen X baby boomers, you'll see them on board. Like it's a nice, diverse crowd, but it's also like a really, as you said, friendly, social. Nobody was disturbing anybody else. So the spaces being purposely built does make it, as you said, cater to families a little bit better rather than accommodate families better.
Yep. Yep.
And I think
100%.
that's a good differentiation.
And something else to consider too from our age demographic, and I think I said the average age is 56. We talked about immersive destinations and spending more time in destinations. You'll see more overnights on our itineraries. The other thing that you'll see when you dive in and look at our itineraries a little bit deeper is you'll see a lot of 7 night itineraries.
Hmm.
And sometimes traditional cruisers go, ooh, you don't do 10, 11, 14 nights? Well, we do, but what we've done is because we want to attract that younger demographic, we realize A, that they don't have a lot of time, vacation time, because they are typically working. So a 7 night itinerary is great because you can then add on a pre or post experience or a hotel. But if you have traditionalists that want to stay on board longer, those 7 night itineraries have been designed so you can add them back to back to back to back in many cases without repeating ports of call and go even deeper and more immersive into a destination. So we're not going to be sitting in, someone called me the other day and said, yeah, but where do you sail out of? I'm like, well, we sail out of a lot of different places. Like, for example, if we're doing Eastern Med, we sail out of Venice, we sail out of Athens, we sail out of Istanbul. We don't just sit in Athens and do 7 night itineraries round trip continuously. It's like this moving journey of experiences that we offer guests to come and join us and be a little bit more immersive. So that's been very attractive to new to cruisers as well.
Absolutely. I feel like that has, like some people, like you said, were kind of like, oh, I have to fly in and out of two different places. But for the younger generations that are still working and don't have as much time to travel, we're willing to fly in and out of different places and expand that so that our experience is a little bit more varied and diverse. So I feel like that's had a really fun attraction where, okay, great, you actually can figure out a round trip a lot of times if you're willing to do 14 days. And that 14 days, for instance, if you're in the Caribbean, because longer Caribbean journeys are always the most popular, but you can always go Miami to Barbados, Barbados back to Miami, and still hit different ports, or San Juan will be like it goes in these great little circles. So it's diverse and you can really figure out how to mismatch and put those puzzles together, which
Yep.
is something Create Your Cruise has been doing pretty awesome for the last few years, and we've had a lot of growth in that space of people combining itineraries to make what we call epic journeys. So essentially, just branching out those destinations so you can have a longer, more varied experience, which is really fun. I think that's a great thing that you guys are doing. I hope you continue to do that as the brand grows because I feel like it really creates that expansion for you in that space of people who want more from cruising than just a
Yep.
ship.
Yep. And we've designed our brand to allow for that. I mean, so many cruise lines say, "Oh, you just have to take a cruise. Cruise is the best way to cruise." Well, yeah, cruise is a great way to vacation, but if you're new to it, we're not saying cruise only. We want you to do a land exploration in conjunction with the cruise because that's really how you're going to maximize your vacation experience, especially in all these worldwide destinations that you can visit.
True. The younger generation that used to not cruise, like my friends who would tell me, "Oh, I'm not going to go on a cruise because I don't like to wait in lines and I don't want to have to, feel pressured to do things and I don't want to have only specific times to do things or eat or
Yep.
things like that." So you guys have really kind of thrown that out the window as well. So
Yep.
that's a fun thing as well to bring in
Yeah, we
people
don't
who
have that
traditionally,
traditional dining room that
right.
everybody goes to at the same time. We've got the six different restaurants and three other places that serve food. And when you look at Explora 3, uh, the Explora 3, 4, 5, and 6, they are going to be 60 feet longer than our existing two ships, but we're not adding additional suites. We're going to keep that guest to space ratio high and optimize the guest to space ratio. But what we are going to be adding is public spaces. So we're adding another restaurant, we're adding another bar, we're expanding the Nautilus Club for the kids. The casino is going to be a little bit bigger. We're adding meeting rooms. So we're all about giving more choice to those clients that are going to be on board our subsequent ships. And by the way, the reason that they're bigger is because we are really focused on sustainable cruising. And so these ships are going to be powered by LNG to start off with, and then eventually we're looking at other alternative fuels such as hydrogen power. So we really want to be mindful of the future of cruising and, leave a positive legacy for cruising for the future in the end.
It's awesome to see such a amazing startup have this success. And
Yep,
you have a sister company who is also very successful in their own right, and you literally did nothing that they did, which I think a lot of people
yep,
expected. So it's very fun. Let's go into a little bit about the booking process and
hmm,
another thing I wanted to talk about because you keep talking about the choices on board, which is great, is that you don't have to schedule your whole life ahead of time. Like
right.
if you book the cruise, a lot of people will write to me in like a panic, I don't have my dinner scheduled. I don't have like that is not an issue on
Mm-mm.
Explora. So I feel like that's another thing that your team, especially from the culinary perspective, have handled really well not needing to be on that tight schedule in order to accommodate everyone. So was that part of the process when the actual design of the company was being
Yeah, it also went into overcoming that idea that cruising is rigid and that you have to be in a schedule. And we didn't want guests to feel like they had to be in a schedule. I, for one, when I go cruising, I don't like to plan anything out because
either?
I don't
I
know
spent
how
my
I'm
whole
gonna
life
feel.
planning.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we do in our lives. It's like I just want to go out and relax. And if I feel like going and having sushi tonight, I'll go have sushi tonight. So for those that do like to plan, we do have three of our smaller restaurants. You can book ahead of time. You can make one reservation in each of them 90 days prior to your journey. You can, of course, book destination experiences if you would like ahead of time, but you can do a lot of that on board. We do recommend destination experiences ahead of time because there is limited space on those if you want to take those. But if you want to go off on your own, you can certainly do that as well. It's not a regimented situation when it comes to pre-planning. We do encourage guests to be, go with the flow, have a great time on board. You can book your spa appointments on board as well. You can book some ahead of time if you would like. We're really trying to meet you where you are as a guest and offer the ability to pre-book or not if you would like.
And the ship is just the right size for it,
Hmm.
because the logistics of it have to work from both perspectives. So sure, like a large ship would never be able to accommodate that kind of thing. They need people to plan ahead so that they experience flows. But your
Yep.
ship size is perfect to just free flow or pre-plan and everybody
Hmm.
wins, which is nice.
Yep.
It doesn't always
Yep.
happen for the agent world over here trying to
Yep.
accommodate everyone's plans.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the booking window. When are you
Mhm.
finding people are booking and when do you recommend people book?
So, as a new brand, we have been finding that our booking window, about 50% of our bookings come within 6 months of the journey. And we're not entirely surprised about that because we are, again, targeting that younger demographic,
Hmm.
which typically tends to make plans a little bit closer in. About 23% of our bookings come within 3 months. And because we are a new brand, we typically will have space available, and we see about 9 to 8% come within the month. So because we have space, we can't accommodate some of those last minute opportunities. Like I think this morning on the TV, there was a big segment on spring break. Is it too late to plan your spring break? We still have space. We also don't fill our ships to 100% capacity. So we built our budget more like a boutique hotel, and we're targeting more about that 87 to 88% occupancy. So we generally will have space even last minute if guests are really interested in sailing with us. But for some of those, more epic trips like the World Journey, yes, plan ahead and if you
Hmm.
want the top tier suites, that's another thing to consider because those typically sell out first because we have limited inventory on those top tier suites. But I would
I think
say,
people get surprised by how fast those sell, but
yes.
literally in this market, it's funny because it's a top-down approach, certainly in almost
Mhm.
every brand that we're seeing, where the suites tend to book first and early, and then as you get closer, the inventory dwindles down to those kind of more what would be a normal standard cabin, which is still a beautiful ocean suite
Yep.
terrace with you guys.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but definitely the larger suite guests and the extra amenities come with all of those as well. So
Yep.
book those
Yep.
early.
But I would say, as far as destinations, aside from the world journey, some places that are, looking like they're projecting to be quite busy would be our Japan and Asia itineraries. They're doing very, very well. Alaska is another one because 2027 will be the first time that we're in Alaska. I would suggest planning ahead of time and booking early. The other thing and advantage to booking early is pricing. So
Mhm.
our pricing model is we come out with very attractive rates, and then as capacity builds, our intent is to raise the rates. So the earlier you get in, the better your rate is going to be from a revenue management standpoint in that respect.
It's been on our side seeing that as well. I definitely see that happening, especially if you're booking any kind of popular sailing holidays,
Hmm.
anytime that, a lot of people want to go celebrate things, certainly. But I am noticing quite a bit as well. Sorry, this cold medicine just totally made that thought disappear. But I just feel like your pricing is consistent, but also raises over time. So like
Yeah,
if you call me today about a quote and I quote it for you, I'm not going to have to like pressure you to close it today because it's pretty unlikely I'm going to see an overnight change,
right.
but I do notice as every month gets closer, we see those prices evaluated, space and inventory evaluated, and prices go up as the inventory goes down. So it doesn't often happen like that anymore in the cruise world. Like sometimes it's just kind of all over the place, but it's been consistent with you guys. And I think that
Yep.
also speaks to the clients and their loyalty building to the brand as well.
Yep. Yeah, and speaking of loyalty, we do have a loyalty program. So, if you have any clients that are on the phone with us today or listen to us, we will match loyalty with another luxury brand so that you don't lose your loyalty benefits by giving us a try because we know we're new and we know we're not going to be the brand for everyone. But there are a lot of people that are curious out there who are traditional cruisers and want to give us a try. But until last year, we didn't have a loyalty program. So now we have that, and you can status match and you can build your loyalty with us too.
It's exciting. And just
Yep.
that little edge you can do to get ahead when you get on board and make that experience a little more special.
Yep.
I am going to go through some of the Q&As and then I have a
Okay.
closing question for y'all.
Okay.
So, we
Okay.
want to know, one guest has a question about nightlife on board, which we
Hmm.
briefly touched about, but I would say the energy levels are not necessarily high energy party levels, except for, of course, celebrations, New Year's Eve parties, things like
Yep.
that. But tell us what you could expect on like a normal night at sea on an Explora ship.
Yeah, a normal night at sea, of course, you're going to want to enjoy a nice dinner, and we typically will have venues activated prior to the busy dinner times that people tend to choose, which end up being around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. We'll have various lounges activated with either some sort of musician or singer, maybe even a trivia event or something prior to dinner. And then after dinner, we'll definitely have our main show lounge, the Journeys Lounge, with a guest entertainer. We bring on comedians, mentalists, dance teams, singers, all sorts of guest entertainers will come on and complement our onboard entertainment team. And then beyond that, for the late night folks, we will have quite often karaoke. We will have silent disco. We may even have a movie up at the conservatory pool. When there are special events going on, like the Super Bowl, we had a huge blowout party for the Super Bowl. It was super cool. I
Fun.
saw all the pictures. Of course, I wasn't there, but go Seahawks because I'm from Seattle. But they had, but they had, balloons in the Journeys Lounge. It was all decorated. They had all sorts of food that was made for for the Super Bowl. And then up at the conservatory pool, they had the big TV up there with food and decorations and whatnot. And they do those kind of things. They did it for the Oscars. I'm trying to think what else for the World Series. So, they do try to do activations around world events that are going on that are really exciting. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the Olympics because they blocked the availability for Olympics. But, if we would have had that, they would have been able to accentuate those as well. So, every cruise is different, every journey is different, and they really do try to read the crowd. And, if they need to make enhancements and tweaks as they go, they will do that based on what the crowd is wanting.
And that's really fun too, because the having again a ship that size, that perfect size, where you can really kind of like pivot as you go.
Hmm.
Like this crowd is a little more high energy, let's give them more to do at night. This crowd's a little more low energy, let's keep them, with the activities that they like that are a little bit more relaxed and chill. So that's really fun.
Yep.
Um, this guest wants to know about inclusions, but I think probably easier to walk that backwards, right? And say what you would expect to pay for on board.
Yeah, yeah. So you can expect to pay for your spa treatments, obviously. You casino, they'll take your donations. Um, we have fantastic shopping on board, so watch out, gentlemen and ladies, because we have not only the Journey, which is our main gift shop, where we have some very unique items in there that are luxury items that you probably wouldn't find in a lot of other, especially not a lot of other ships. But then in addition to the Journey, we also have four mono branded shops on all of our ships that are pretty Swiss watch focused. So we have Piaget, Panerai, Cartier, and we even have a Rolex on board, Rolex dealer on board ship one and ship three. And a fun fact about Rolex on our ships, you can actually buy a Rolex and walk off with it on your wrist. You can't walk
You
into a
can't do that.
store anywhere and walk out with a Rolex on your wrist. So that's people have actually been buying their journeys with us so they can get a
Yes,
Rolex.
they have.
Yeah.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few people go shopping on your ship just for
Yeah.
that purpose.
Yeah.
So, what a cool thing to be able to say.
I know,
Um,
right? And
so,
then
drinks are included, your tips are included, your spa wellness focus without the treatments is
yep.
included. So,
Hmm.
coffee's
Wi-Fi.
included, Wi-Fi's included.
Wi-Fi is huge on our ship because we don't
Absolutely.
charge extra for Wi-Fi, and everybody gets three devices connected at all times. So you could have your phone, your iPad, and your computer connected. You don't have to log off and log on. And every suite has a router in them. So the Wi-Fi is super strong. Like I could be on a ship right now doing this with you, Tawny, and we would have no problems on an Explorer ship.
It's
I
so fun because you
stream.
really can't say that. I have tried to do these on ships and they
Yeah.
have been fails.
Yeah, no, I would have no qualms about doing one of these on a ship. And I stream my kids' soccer games, basketball games, my favorite Netflix shows, never have an issue from a Wi-Fi perspective.
Great. So
Um,
next time you're on board, we're going to do a live
yes,
tour.
yes. I've done that. I've seriously have done that. It's fun. It's really fun.
I absolutely want to do that with you. So you let
Yeah,
me know when you're going again
we'll
or
do.
if I'm going again. Laundry service. Talk about laundry service. Actually, is a big question in the luxury space, particularly for those who are going to be with you guys for a long journey.
Yeah, yeah. So again, the status match, a lot of companies have laundry included in their status match, so that's something to consider. If you book a penthouse, laundry is included. You get a bag of laundry during your journey, but we also have laundrettes on board if you want to do self-service laundry, and we provide the laundry detergent and everything. There's ironing boards and whatnot. We are also going to be providing steamers in everybody's suites. That's something that we're adding that we haven't had before, so there is
That's a
that
nice
access.
touch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's nice. That's like I absolutely will never use an iron, but I will 100% use a
Hmm.
steamer.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you bring
Um,
your own and you get caught, they confiscate it.
exactly. Don't bring them. If anyone doesn't know, you cannot bring
Yeah,
steamers on board ships yourself. Fire hazards, burning hazards,
yeah.
many things. So these ones I'm assuming pass the safety
Yes,
inspection.
they do. They do.
We have a lot of guests who always ask this question, so definitely want to address the solo travelers,
Mhm.
single supplements.
Yes, we have several journeys, and Tony, I know you have access to this
Yes.
that are at zero solo supplement. So I would encourage our solos out there to take a look at what we have to offer. And from the zero solo supplements, we go up to 125%. Um, we also on board have a Solo Savant Society. So we do plan activities for solos to mix and mingle if they would like. And we do try to make sure that if you're a solo and you haven't met anybody, if you'd like to dine with someone, we have our officers and our team on board that would be happy to dine with a solo if they're interested.
That's always a fun thing too. I remember when my husband and I we used to go on the silver stays and they had the gentleman host and it was always such
Mhm.
a nice thing. But it also was kind of stuffy because everybody was in tuxedos and dress clothes and ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
But it's a very cool thing to do to be able to create that community because I think there has been a huge influx of guests who want to go out there and travel solo. Like I don't want to share a room, but I want to meet people for sure.
Yeah,
Somebody
and
says
going on a
amazing
cruise,
Wi-Fi included with router.
yeah,
Thanks,
and going on
Meryl.
a cruise is a great way to meet solos. I was just at a consumer event this weekend and I met a couple solo ladies and they're like, we met on the ship and now we travel together all the time and we know these ladies from Canada that also come with
Yeah.
us and
They
yeah,
create whole groups and communities, like
yeah,
we said. You really want to create that travel community for yourself because you can be friends with anyone, but you can't travel with
no,
anyone. So
no.
meeting like-minded people on board has always been
Hmm.
an amazing experience for us. I
Yeah,
love this question. Would 70 somethings feel out of place on Explorer? I'm happy to
not at
answer it,
all.
but go for it. Yeah.
Not at all.
No. No
No.
one's, it would be hard to feel out of place. It's really a casual luxury for all age ranges. Like
Hmm.
everybody is happy because there's something for everybody without having too much.
Yep. 100%.
So if you're thinking about it, you're anonymous on here, but don't think about it anymore. You will not feel out of place. You won't regret
No.
it. And for another single supplement promo, reach out to us. There are select sailings across the board where there's space available for solos. As with kind of every ship, if it's a really popular sailing and they sell to a certain capacity, they're not going to offer any kind of solo specials on there. But if you're flexible, there's always something we
Yep.
can find for you.
Yep.
Okay, somebody says they prefer no kids, but they're very interested. Yes, Meryl, I'll be happy to call you. Let me just.
Yeah, and I would say if you prefer no kids, just avoid festive and
It's
summer.
not.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like honestly, for anyone who is concerned about that particular comment, don't be. I don't have kids. I don't particularly love to travel with kids either. There are the kids are almost not noticeable. Like the spaces that you have for them are really inviting. Like they
Yeah.
want to spend time there. If you're on the Caribbean, you might see them in a couple of pools, but there's also all kinds of
Adults only
different
pool.
spaces. Correct.
Hmm.
Like you're never going to be in that situation like you are on a larger cruise or a contemporary cruise where you feel like you can't get away.
Yeah.
It won't be a
I think I
problem.
mentioned I started my career as a youth counselor, and I started on a ship that didn't have space built out for kids, which was super challenging. So the fact that we have space built out is key. I used to say that my job was the hardest on board because not only was I trying to please the kids and please their parents, but then I was trying to please the people that didn't want to see the kids. So having the space is a definite advantage to accommodating families like we do on board.
Absolutely. Sorry about that mute. We
You
have
get a
some
jumping
questions.
attack. I have dogs barking. So.
We're just messed
It's
over here.
real. We're
We're getting
real.
exactly. This is not AI.
No.
We had some questions about Tahiti and South Pacific. That's okay. Return trips would be difficult, just so you know, because they move around. So these are usually if you're going through the South Pacific, you're either built to do a round trip, like some who have large fleets, or you're moving in between locations. So it's more like a crossing,
Yeah.
trans-ocean crossing. But
So you're gonna
when
find
are
that on
you
our
guys
world
gonna?
journey.
Yeah,
In 2029 will be the first time that we'll be in that region.
perfect. Okay, let's see here. Are any shore excursions included?
We don't include destination experiences specifically because we're leaning into that idea that luxury guests want choice. And I know I'm fully aware that other lines do include destination experiences, aka shore excursions. But what we hear quite often from travel advisors like you, as well as repeat guests, past guests, is that yeah, they include them, But then once they figure out what that inclusion actually is, it's not necessarily a tour that they really want to do, but they feel like they have to do it because
Hmm.
they spent the money on it, and then they're kind of stuck. So we did not include them. We offer destination experiences, but you can choose what you would like to do versus being stuck.
Absolutely. I run into this so often when the excursions are included, where you read through the list and you're just not really enamored with the ones. So you either end up paying extra for the ones you really wanted in the first
Yeah,
place, or you just say this was a waste for me. So I know that is kind of controversial to some, but I have to say I think it's better. And if you're working with a good advisor, that person's
yeah,
going to guide you through like, is there a private option? Is there a small group tour option? Like all of the tours that you guys offer are awesome too because you're a small ship, so you're never going to be on those buses full of people, which
yeah,
is great, but certainly there's more flexibility by not including those, which I
yeah.
think people don't realize till they get into that situation.
Yeah, and if you do want to go off on your own, we do include shuttle service to and from the city center and the destinations where we aren't docked or tendered in the city center. So you do have access to head off on your own too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very easy. Like you guys make everything so easy. Okay, Meryl, we will contact you, and I think we've hit all of our questions. So my
Great.
last question for you
Okay.
is, what do you think is so excited about the product that you can't wait to go back on and experience it again?
For me, you know, I have teenagers and hustle and bustle and my job. For me, what's most exciting about being on board again is the relaxation of the brand and the ease of the brand and then the people. Just, being able to connect and the service that our team on board provides and not have to worry about anything. To me, that's what true cruising is all about. And time is such a luxury to me right now that having that opportunity to relax and in the environment that we provide is key.
I agree. I feel like luxury has evolved to convenience, right? Like
Hmm.
having a convenient, easygoing, delicious, because the food is so good, life on board is
Yep.
why I want to come back as well. So thank you, Amy, so much for joining us. This has been so fun. I really do want to do this live from a ship. So whenever we have
Yes.
that opportunity, we're definitely going to do that for all of you. And thank you all for joining us as we chatted through all things Explora.
Yeah. Thank you, Tawny. And thanks to everybody for taking time to learn about our brand today.
And we'll be sending this recorded copy out to everybody. I know some of you asked that too. So be on the lookout for the emails from Create Your Cruise. We'll be sending this out and it will also go on our YouTube channel. So you can find us at World 2C Create Your Cruise on YouTube. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.